What it do? What's up, folks? How y'all doing out there? Welcome to another live edition of Real Talk for Real Men. I am your host, Lee Black, and I am doing pretty good. We halfway there, folks. It is Hump Day, Wednesday, April the 10th. And if you working like me, you glad to be on the other side of this motherfucker. But we're going to hopefully have a good show for you tonight. Hopefully we'll be joined by the family and we will have a great, invigorating conversation. And so thank you for joining us live if you're here. And for those that watch me after the fact, appreciate your support as well. Let's bring in the co-host. This is Tasha Mack. What's up, Big Mac?
I'm here. I'm here.
You look so thrilled to be here too. You know, so. I was looking at you on backstage, baby. You look completely thrilled to be here. So, how are you doing?
It's Wednesday, so that there's that. The week is almost over. We're almost to Friday.
That there you go. There you go. Before it's all over with, hopefully we're gonna have you laughing. Welcome, Mr. Lamb himself. Appreciate you popping in, my
Um,
brother. Good to see you. So if you don't know, we are air live on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Live shows on Wednesdays tend to be a little bit more serious content, and you can hopefully find us by subscribing to the channel on YouTube and Facebook. Look for us under Real Talk for Real Men, and you can also find us under the TFG and bandana and the TFG brand. And there is a host of shows underneath that brand. And Mr. Lamb is the innovator behind that as well. So lots of content. Check us out. Don't forget when you subscribe, tell other people. Hit the notification bell because everything is happening on TFG. Everything from Black Celebrity News to Real Estate Insider to sports to gossip to religion to beautiful women talking about sex and to my crazy ass, you get it all. So hopefully you'll get a chance to tune in. And one of my family members, he's not able to make it here on
Haunting.
Wednesdays. That's Mr. Kenny from Kendrick Sports Hustle. His show is also under the TFG banner. So don't forget to check him out because typically he breaks the sports news well long before it hits the mainstream. So don't forget to check him out. So hopefully, we will get a chance to see you guys on many of our platforms and be able to enjoy us. We got one of our favorites popping in. I'm gonna start calling Terrence a super fan as well. He's been riding with us for a number of years. Appreciate you, Cuzzo, in New York City. Thanks for popping in. And so, yeah, thanks for joining. And we're going to give a few minutes to wait for and see if any family join. But as always, I'm going to go ahead on and I will reveal the topic that we are discussing today. And I always like to kind of give a little story behind it, so you know where my brain is at. The topic today is going to be called "Listen Up, Younger Self." Listen up, younger self. Oh shit, we got this is my homeboy right here, Mr. Mark DiCaprio. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in and checking us out. Oh, hey folks, in case you don't know, please check out this man's platform on TikTok, and I think he's got his own YouTube channel as well. I witnessed him with my own eyes make himself over, and it's the shit is real. He did this shit for real, for real. Watching him sculpt himself and his journey is just magnificent. Appreciate you tuning in, Marlon. Appreciate you, my brother. And so, yeah, we're going to be talking about listen up, younger self. And so, while we wait on other people, Tasha, here's what happened for those of you tuning in right now. So you got to know. Do you ever feel like that you have all of this wisdom and all of this knowledge, but it's trapped inside? Tasha, you laughing already, but it's trapped inside of this shell where you no longer have either the physical desire, you don't mentally, you're in a different place. But do you ever think about, oh my God, if I could go back 20 years with what I know now and think about what that would look like? And I'm talking about relationships. So let me ask you that question. If you could go back now with all you know, Tasha, and do you think your situation, how different would it be knowing all you know now when it comes to relationships and the decisions you made?
Man, let me tell you. If I could go back, and for me, I'm 35. So if I could go back, I wouldn't even take to 15. No. If I could go back to when I was 17, the
Wow.
start of my senior year of high school, my life would be so different.
Wow, wow. So, and in terms of relationships, so how my question then is, and I think anybody, any normal, free thinking adult, especially that's, I would say, over the age of 35, and some of us are older, would certainly agree that if we could go back to our teens and our 20s when we started dating and making decisions, I think any normal, common sense person would say, man, I'd probably make better decisions. So, question then,
Mhm.
why is it that young people, ourselves included, don't make better decisions when our parents, we had the benefit of them telling us this, that, and the other? Why is it young people are doomed to repeat the same mistakes? Why do you think?
Because, like, what's the fun of somebody telling you not to do something when you can't experience it, make your own decisions, and become who you are? That's the other thing. All the mistakes and everything, every decision I made has led me to be who I am.
Okay.
I don't mind the person that I am, but I would like to meet a different version of myself that's operating in another universe, another timeline. So,
Love that answer. Love that answer. And I think that is truly true. And that's the thing that I hope that carries us through the bulk of this conversation, is that you can't go back. And
mhm.
if you're going to be perfectly honest, I don't necessarily know that we would choose it, because it has led us to this place. And if you've made it to this place, warts and all, this is who we are. And one thing about this platform, this show, that Tasha and I've said consistently is that we're not experts on relationships. We never even try to be, you know.
No.
We talk about relationships, but I personally damn sure don't distill advice because I want you to know how great and perfect I am. In fact, I always go the opposite direction, that I can tell you from my experience and wisdom about the shit that doesn't work, because I've made enough mistakes that if you want to take something from that, I can say, hey, this is what happened to me. And if you want to avoid it, because again, like you said, Tasha, I didn't listen to older brothers. I didn't have a father. Damn sure didn't listen to my mom because she's a woman. What the fuck does she know? Is what I thought.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But even
Yeah.
having older brothers and uncles, I go back to when I was in my 20s, you know, of course I was going to make those decisions. So, having said that, we're going to talk to our younger selves. We're going to take a stroll back internally and talk about lessons we've learned, but not to give advice to anybody else other than ourselves. Because I like what you said, Tasha. You would like to run into a different version of yourself.
Mhm.
This is going to be about a personal reflection on self and what you would tell yourself, because what you've learned. And so that's what we're going to have this conversation about. Marlon says, I think younger me would have not stayed as long or not pursued certain relationships, allowed the heart to lead instead of wisdom. I love that. I love that. You know, and you know, and there's a side of that I agree with Marlon, in the sense that I've always operated under the principle that my head is stronger than my heart. So I don't know where I would be if I had led more with my heart. I don't know if I would be better or worse. How you doing, Carol? Super fan, welcome.
Oh,
So
yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into this, Tasha. If we get some family members, fantastic. But we're going to talk. We're going to jump into some reasons, basically. Talking to ourselves and what that looks like. Okay, hold on. So I'm sorry, I want to get to. Oh, Hannah and Bert said they're on their way, so the posters will be joining. Fantastic. So hopefully they'll pop into the conversation and they'll just get in where they fit in, folks. But let's talk about this very, very first one I want to talk about. And I'm going to be reading from an article. In case anybody want the article, feel free to let me know. This first one says, listen up. Relationships are work, but it's good work with the right person. Now, in this one, I want to talk about it from the perspective that we've all fallen in love, or
Mhm.
we have at some point. You know what I'm saying? What's the difference, though, between falling in love and finding sustaining love when you think about your younger self? Because, go ahead, Tasha. I don't want to
No,
stifle
no.
your.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, because anybody can fall in love. We see young kids say, "I'm in love. I'm in love." You know what I'm saying? But what have you learned now at this stage of your life that as time passed by and you look at all the sacrifices that it really takes to be in a relationship? So what's the big takeaway for you to tell your younger self about falling in love, but finding sustaining love?
To your point, falling in love is easy, but it's not what you love. When I thought I was in love, that's not what love was. I think maybe that was a version of love, but I don't think that that's truly love. But like sustaining, I think it was more like puppy love, just like brand new, very cute, not true love. But sustaining it though is brutal, and it's not nice. It's complicated. It affects you not just mentally, it affects you physically. And
Absolutely.
it's something that you have to be truly prepared to go through all of it. And then with the other person, that person, you have to make sure that you're falling in love with someone who is interested in sustaining it themselves, who's going to, like add into it, pour into it as well. Because if not, you're just going to be running yourself in circles, and you're only going to be affecting yourself like negatively.
Man, I tell you, you said a mouthful there. And this one hits very personal for me because I got married at 21 and I was divorced by 30. So what happened? Did I love the person? Without a doubt. I never remarried again, but it's because of this one right here. You know what I was not prepared for? Just how much work it takes to be in love and to sustain a loving relationship. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, fucking and dating is easy.
Is easy.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? When I look back at my younger
Mhm.
self now, I was a master at that shit. You know what I'm saying? Finding people to fuck with and to kick it with, that was easy. I was not prepared for the work that goes into when you love somebody, because now you have to put that person's interests above your own, always be considering what they think, and every decision that you make is going to affect them. And it was so hard for me as my younger self. I never did it again because honestly, I just wasn't prepared for it. And now looking back, I was so ill prepared to truly be in love. Kenny says, I think my younger self had no idea what love was and what it entailed because loving another person comes with a lot of mixed signals. My brother, it is absolutely true. And in my case, we were both young, so we neither one of us really knew what love was. We were attracted to each other, and you that feeling in your stomach and shit that oh, I don't want to be without this person. So you jump on that and you act on that, and we weren't prepared for it. Carol says, I wish I had fallen in love, not the idea of being in love, if that makes sense. That makes complete sense.
I
And I think for our younger selves, many people do that. Go ahead, Tasha.
I just wanted to say, I think, just from listening to a couple of people of what they've said, I think the hardest part of being in love and sustaining that love is dealing with it purely comes down to me, dealing with the emotions. And a lot
Mhm.
of people, if you didn't have a good, stable upbringing, if you and your household weren't even able to express your emotions the way that they needed to, and those feelings be deemed like its value, like yes, you have every right to feel that way, then you're going to struggle in relationships as you get older.
Absolutely. And full disclosure on that one, Tasha, I had no idea what a loving relationship looked like. You were
Hmm.
raised in a two-parent household, so I think you probably got a better example of it. I wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't raised with a father figure involved, so I'm picking up all this shit along the way. And it looking back on it now, it was unfair to the woman. So let me ask you this in terms of the work and that goes into relationship, especially making it work with the right person. What would you tell your younger self when it comes to dating with intentionality versus just being attracted to the person? And Kenny says you are on point, Tasha. So, what do you tell the meeting that younger self in that multiverse? What do you tell yourself the difference, McMack, about dating with intention versus just being attracted?
I would say for me that dating with intention hasn't been an issue for me in this sense. When I'm with someone, it's like I know, like I know why I'm with them, and it is, like for the express interest to be in a relationship with them, you know.
Okay.
But I guess for me, I in this category, it's not. I don't think I really have a lot to add because I don't have a marriage. And I think that this, I've never been married, never been divorced, anything like that. So I don't have anything that, as far as like dating like with intention that I don't think I could really add anything
Wow.
anymore to it.
Wow. Wow.
Um,
For me, I don't just associate this with my marriage because the easy answer for me is that you're supposed to be dating with the intent to marry. And at the
right.
time that I did it, I was religious, and full
Mhm.
disclosure, I wasn't gonna get no pussy unless I married her. She wasn't gonna give me none, and the organization was gonna look unkindly on me taking it from her. so,
Yeah,
so
just that organization,
I'm
just
just,
that one was gonna look down on you
I'm just
for.
saying, and so at that time, that was the intent. But you know what? Looking past that and all of the other relationships I've been in, you know what? I look back and say to my younger self, I never still dated with intention because again, I was so good at just fucking around. There was no intention. In fact, I went into many relationships knowing it was a ride that was going to come to an end. I knew it right from the outset. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But that is intention. Like you intentionally, but to me, that is an
Okay.
intention though.
Okay. So
You
you're defining that as
intentionally
intention. I get it.
as intention,
I
yeah,
get it.
you knew that you weren't going to be serious with that person. You knew what it was, like going into it. So to me,
So I
that
love
is
that you're on the
intention.
same track. But I
Yeah.
see it. So we're kind of nitpicking words. But for me, I didn't see that as intentional because I was playing at dating, even ones that I really liked. But I knew enough that this is never going to get to the mountaintop for me. Even if I liked them, even if I was truly attracted. So that's why I brought about the track. There were some that I was more attracted to than others. But even then, I knew that there was always going to be a wall that we were never going beyond because the marriage part for me was too hard. And I discovered how much I didn't like to share my space and things like that. So telling my younger self, going back now, I do wish I have had more of an intention because maybe I wouldn't have had chlamydia 4 times in a row. But that's just me.
Well, it built character and
I don't
antibodies in your body. So it
you
built up
know
your antibodies. So there's that. Silver linings everywhere.
possibly. Let's go to another one. So here's another one where I want for us to look at our younger selves and say, listen up. Boundaries are how you tell other people how to love you.
Ooh.
What do you think about that? Anybody viewing, please feel free to comment. What do you think about this one? That telling your younger self, because this is the whole point. You're not talking to anybody else. Think about how this applies to you when you were younger. Recognizing that boundaries are how you tell other people how to love you. Before you, Carol says, add Tasha, not anybody. I don't know if I built them up or not, Miss Carol. I don't know. I don't know. But how do you look at this one? Because while you think about this, Tasha, I think about in my 20s again. I was married, so then I got out there in my 30s. But you know what was crazy when I got past the marriage and now I'm back out there doing my thing? I don't, this one again, looking back on it, I wasn't young, so to speak. I was younger, but you know what? I didn't set boundaries. There were no boundaries. And so I'm going to go someplace with this. But for you, how does this one compute that telling your younger self to listen up, girl, listen up, because boundaries are how you tell other people how to love you? What do you think
That's a
about
big
that?
one. That's a big one for me. That because yes, yes, and a few of my relationships, I did not set boundaries.
Mm.
I put the other person before myself, and like kind of putting myself on the back burner, like in the sense just prioritizing their happiness, and they wouldn't reciprocate it necessarily. So that's a big one that I would push. Just make sure that you prioritize yourself in a relationship.
I love that. I got a question for you, and I wish I had more of the family here. Do you think men do that too?
Yeah.
Or do you think that's more exclusive to women? Please.
No, men do it too, but it's always, what happens is that you find somebody who's like, you find somebody who's like the taker, who just takes like all, who doesn't mind being prioritized. Those two people always end up, like with the opposite of who they really need to be with,
Wow.
always.
Wow. I'm glad you said that because I think the way sometimes this comes across is that I'm gonna set boundaries, and we tend to all, I think too often maybe think that it's only women who give up those boundaries and let the takers, but I think there's a lot of
Mhm.
men that does do that as well. Brother Kendrick says this is something I'm definitely inept. Let me read something to put a little context to this. Boundaries are a demonstration of respect for your time, personal container, and limits. Without boundaries, you can lose your sense of self. The line gets fuzzy as identities, responsibilities, and emotions messily blur together. Setting boundaries is an expression of self love.
Yes, yes,
Wow, 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 wow.
this is a
And
big one.
that is definitely a big one that even for my younger self, that's why I said I didn't set any boundaries. We was just winging it, to be honest with you. And whatever came, that's what I dealt with. And here's the other part that I'm gonna say out loud. Attraction played a major part in what those boundaries were. Because if it was somebody I was really attracted to, they were able to get away with more versus somebody else. And I don't want to just say it in a nasty way, but
No, don't be calling people ugly on here. Don't do that.
well, I did date a lot of dog-headed bitches, so that's the
Mm,
God's truth.
absolutely
Terrence
not.
says, "Are men boundaries accepted because they're usually viewed as controlling by women?" Great question, Terrence.
Yeah, they're accepted. Yeah, they are. Of course they are. It just, I think it goes back to what I said. I think sometimes the people who are together, like the taker, the person who takes and takes everything, they may see it as a negative, or that, oh, they're being controlling, but they don't recognize that somebody has set a boundary with them, and especially if they're not used to their significant others having that boundary, or if this is something new that you're trying to, like incorporate into your relationship. That's why I think people get confused on that. They think it's control, but really it's just like, I'm not going to allow you to treat me this way in this relationship. That's what you're saying.
Man, thank you so much. So, Carol was saying she agree. Brother Kendrick say he agree with me on the point I was making, and Carol says yes, they are accepted. I want to read another statement when it comes to boundaries. It says, "I used to think that boundaries created separation between the self and the other, and I feared that distance. Now I value the space in between." I love that thought. I
Yes,
value the space in between. I
man.
understand that boundaries are roadmaps for acceptable or unacceptable behaviors. And this is another point that I wanted to drill in. Examples can be as simple as financial independence with agreed spending limits, household responsibilities with divided chores, or desire for personal sovereignty and time alone with friends. I love that it included things other than just relationship type stuff. It talked about things like financial independence and spending limits and household responsibilities, because I debated about doing a show on gender roles, right, Tasha? We were talking about
Right,
that. And
right.
I think in 2024, it's almost universally accepted that that doesn't work anymore, that, that's what people say. And I have to get past that because I still have antiquated thinking when it comes to gender roles. So I'm glad it included things like about financing, household chores and duties, and spending time alone with friends,
Yes.
So did you want to add anything to that, McMack?
I do because like sometimes like somebody who gets into a relationship and then everything becomes about that person or spending time with that person's friends or even when that person doesn't want to be with their spouse, they don't know how to tell them, that I just want to be with my friends, just like me and my friends. So
And I love that because it talks about sovereignty, a desire for personal sovereignty. Too many
yes.
times, and especially in today's relationships, there's a unhealthy thought that you have to be with the person every waking moment. That
Yep.
if you're apart, then some kind of way that's emotional or mental cheating or whatever. But I love this where it talks about setting those boundaries for even personal time alone or with friends, because we do sometimes think that we have to throw away friends. And I'm not talking about the motherfuckers you pick up on social media, so to speak, but I mean real friends that, people that, you've invested time in. So that's a big part of setting boundaries. Welcome, Postins. How you guys
Hey
doing tonight?
y'all.
You
What's going
know,
on, guys?
yeah. So to get you guys caught up, we're talking about, you know, telling our younger selves to listen up, the lessons we pass on to our younger selves. So this is not about passing on information to other people, because we established in the very beginning, we as human beings, we don't listen to what people tell us any fucking way. Our parents told us don't do this. Our uncles, brother Bird, I'm sure you had older uncles, men that told, man, don't do this. But we know it all. We make the same mistakes. So this is not about telling somebody else what to do, because we're not experts. But this is about it looking back and telling ourselves, damn, listen up. If I could go back, and Tasha said it well, in some other universe, if she could run into her younger self, she's happy where she's at, but what would she say to that younger self? So that's where we're at, you know. So we were just talking about boundaries. I'll read Carol's comment, and I want you guys are welcome to comment on this as well. Carol says boundaries are almost always viewed as being selfish, no respect for personal space or time needed for self. Absolutely, Carol. And now that I'm older, I've come to appreciate that that's not necessarily what it means. Boundaries actually set healthy parameters, for you when you get older. Sister Hannah, Bert, you guys want to add anything to this one?
I came in at the tail end when y'all was talking,
Mm-hmm.
and I 100% agree with boundaries. Because what you deem comfortable for you, someone else doesn't. So what you think, oh, that's too much. No, this is a boundary I set for myself for you to follow, and a boundary that someone else has that I follow. And I also like what y'all was saying about the alone time, the me time. That is
Mm-hmm.
so needed, and I think people, when they become a couple, they forget that you are an individual, even if you're in a relationship. So if you revolve everything around that relationship, suppose something happens, that person passes
That's
on,
right.
they're in a hospital, and they have to go for wait for work for a long time. You never know the circumstances that life gives us. So if you
Absolutely.
just evolving everything around that person, one, you're not gonna know how to be individual, and two, you leave your friends hanging. Who gonna be there for you when that person you revolve your life around is gone? So I say go out with your friends is healthy. Your time by yourself, because you still got to know yourself in a relationship. Because as the years grow, so do you as a person grow. So which the relationship you got in 4 years ago is not the relationship you in now. So I feel like if you get alone time to yourself, you could figure out how you changed as well.
Absolutely. Let me ask the family something. And this came up on Monday's episode of TFG Tonight with Brenton Haynes, as part of the Black Love series. In a marriage, but I'm going to extend this beyond a marriage, in a committed relationship as well. And we always talk about you owe that person a due. I'm talking about sex, for example, and
Mm-hmm.
withholding and all the things that go along with that. And I'm not digging into the weeds of the scriptures here, but I mean just in a relationship, where do you draw the line far as boundaries, even in what you feel like you want to do? Do you owe that person everything to keep them satisfied? And before you answer, because even in dating scenarios, you know the saying that we hear all the time, and this is what we tell women. Well, what one woman won't do, another woman will. And that's how you're supposed to keep a man, because if he wants this or that, you're supposed to honor all of the boundaries. I want to hear you ladies take, but I want to know, Brother Bert, too, what do you feel about that thought, about that person, married or not, but in a stable, committed relationship? Where does the boundary stop in terms of personal preferences, even when it comes to intimacy?
Who's going first?
Oh man, jump in there. Go, my brother.
I think that number one thing, you got to know the person that you're with. You got to have that conversation and see what their what they will what's their limit. You know,
Okay.
you don't know what anybody has gone through in their life. You don't know what they were exposed to. It's a lot that goes in there, because just because a person might not want to do some of the things that you want to do, there could be a reasoning why, on why they won't do it, or they can't do it, because there could have been something that happened to them. You know, so we got to take that into consideration as well. But as far as if that person is not comfortable, you should already know that before you're in a committed relationship anyway. If they're telling you right from the rip that, hey, listen, there's certain boundaries that I just will not cross, then it's up to you whether or not, that if you're okay with that, then so be it. But it shouldn't be to a point where, well, somebody else will do it. You shouldn't have that mindset. If that's just, if it shouldn't be, if it's a deal breaker, then you shouldn't be with that person.
Here's the question then. So here's the question. Knowing that now, speaking with that level of wisdom, was that message received from the younger you?
Yeah, because to tell you the truth, I did listen to the OGs. I did listen to my
Okay.
uncle. I did listen to my dad. So
Okay.
it was more like, you don't want to, I'm not pressing. I'm not pressing.
Gotcha.
And that one part, that's one thing I did listen to. I never wanted you to feel uncomfortable.
I got you. Ladies, where do you stand on this?
I would say, first of all, Tasha, you all glowing. You look all good. I see you back there.
Oh, thank you. I think it's just the lamp.
Okay, Tasha.
At least she fucking smiling. You should have saw her face when we first started.
Yeah,
But okay.
glowing. Ain't no lamp. But I would say this. I feel like, yes, you want to do things for your significant other when you're in that relationship. However, you can't do so much that you're uncomfortable and unhappy with yourself. It doesn't feel good when you're making someone else feel good and you feel like crap. So I feel like if you want to do it for a certain extent, be comfortable in what you're doing and how you're doing it. And
Same question then. Same question.
Yeah.
Saying that now, did you feel the same? Is that the message that was received by the younger you?
Younger me was like, whatever you want.
That's
coming to America. Whatever you say. No, that was me. Because, like I told you, I was a PK, so I had a different mindset as a younger. Like, you have to do this. You didn't have your own. You know how religion.
Right.
Gotta do
Right. That's a whole nother component.
So younger me was like, whatever, I'm just gonna do it, even if I'm unhappy, even if it doesn't feel good, even if I might feel uncomfortable. But older me has learned, like, no, yes, I want to make you happy. Yes, I want to please you, but I can't be in the bathroom crying because something I did to me.
Wow. Tasha, what do you say to this one?
I was really trying to sit here and just trying to think if I've ever even been in a situation to where, like, I didn't want to do it and I felt some type of way, or like something where it was like kind of kept pressing.
Right.
But for me, no. If I say no, I mean fucking no. And if you keep pressing me, my mouth, I'm gonna say something slick. So now we all gonna be mad. So for me, it's always just kind of like no, just no.
Okay, I love it. That you're authentically true to that. My younger me didn't appreciate this. I really didn't, because to your point, Hannah, there was the religious component to it for me. That fuck, we married. Anything I want to do under the banner of marriage is supposed to be allowable, and you owe that to me. Otherwise, I'm gonna step out on this marriage, which I did, which I did legitimately in my own mind for those reasons. That okay, you think sucking dick is a form of bestiality? I'm gonna go get my dick sucked. So that's where it was at for me, and so looking back and telling my younger self, I just had it so wrong, because I was imposing my own views on her and exceeding the boundaries that she was willing to go. And again, I've said this many times now over the years that I look back now, and I used to say all the time, oh, I was a good husband. That needle is starting to move from good to I was okay. I was okay.
I'm so glad that God didn't give you a whole bunch of money, because we would be watching what's going on with Diddy. We would be watching this shit. I'd be like, I know him. Yeah. God in his infinite wisdom knew better.
Listen,
we wouldn't be saying no
that's
Diddy.
So crazy though, because that makes sense. See, but I want that, but we wouldn't see you right now. It'll be no real talk.
It wouldn't be no
everything.
It'd be no black.
Everything happened for a reason. To your point, I'm grateful to have learned these things. Really, Terrence says true statement, Sister Hannah, and Terrence also say he agreed with you, Brother Bird. So very good points. Let's move on to the next one. So this is another one where I want you guys to kind of look at and internalize. Listen up to our younger selves. Pay attention to who you're attracted to. Pay attention. Tasha's face, if you get me. Pay attention to who you're attracted to. What is the thing you would meeting your younger self when it comes to I see Bert shaking his head too. Pay attention to it, man. All y'all reactions is getting me on this one. Where do you go for here to say to your younger self, pay attention to who you're attracted to?
That is, it's the classic case of, just like liking like the bad boy, it's one of those things like you hear about it, like people tell you, to leave them alone, like you don't have no business messing with this type of person, but to you, you justify it in your mind, like whatever it is. So many red flags, so many behaviors that are just like, why would you even put yourself through that? And I'm talking about people, maybe people that I've dated, yes, to people that I've dated, but then also like people that I've had like extended, like relationships with. I'm not gonna say like romantic relationships, but like a connection with. I definitely like a lot of like red flags in there. I sure would tell my run, okay, or bitch, learn how to fight better, something, anything. I would.
Whoa. Whoa.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
We're gonna do girl, boy. So I'm coming to you next, Bird. But I gotta put that comment in. Kenny summed it up, I think, for a lot of men.
What up, Kenny?
That line in the BBD song, never trust a big butt and a smile. I think
wrong with that.
Yes, sir.
Well, I think for our younger selves, for men, Hannah, to tell your younger self, man, everything that's packaged that way wasn't good for you.
You ain't never lied.
You know what I'm saying? Hint, hint, 4 times with S. Trust and believe, I got chlamydia 4 times. Every last one of them bitches had a big fat pumping ass.
So but the experience, silver linings, Black. We're looking for the positive.
I'm just saying, to Kenny's point, I didn't get chlamydia from fucking some skinny chick with no ass and no walls.
Jesus.
Trust and believe, when I nutted deep and I was raw dogging that pussy, she had a big old ass on her, the big sloppy pussy, and probably some good head too. So again, never trust a big butt and a smile. But anyway, I digress.
You're going to jail. JELL. Not even regular. JELL.
I was gonna say, wait, who?
I'm just saying, brother, Marlon, you know I'm a damn fool. Brother Bert, what about this one for you, to your younger self? Paying attention to who you're attracted to.
Man, if I could tell it all,
See, I ain't the only
brother,
one.
Please don't tell it all.
brother, sisters, I will punch my younger self in the chest. Like, yo, I would snatch him up and I would reiterate, you don't fall for it, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look at the warning signs, everything, man, because I was blinded. I was,
Man,
man, and made bad decisions, man. And I know everybody say, well, everything is not a waste of time because it makes you into what you are now. It goes into the pot. But man, when I talk about wasted time, wasted energy, everything, all the above, man. And it was just, I told Hannah some of the battles. Yes, I did.
Oh, I know.
Some of the battles. Oh, I thought you were saying that. And brother caught me at a good time. They caught me
right.
at a good time, man. And you know what? Thank goodness that I had the mindset that I had at that time. I will say that because if I was on my game, I might not be here right now with y'all.
Wow.
I'm talking about I'll be locked up.
Well, damn.
No. I get that completely. And that's where
But,
we
not
started the show about,
people.
because sometimes we think to ourselves, man, if I could take all this knowledge I got now and you plop me in the middle of 2024, I would be a beast, but I would be in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, what's the word? A victim of the Me Too campaign, and shit and everything else, and probably somewhere itching and scratching, not even on a mattress and shit. So everything happened for a reason, Carol says, that was me. I was intrigued by my first marriage. I thought he was everything I wanted in a husband. I later realized he was selfish, abusive mentally and physically, not even a good father.
Wow.
And so this is,
Wow.
she raised her hand. These are the laws of attraction. I'm coming to you next, Hannah, but I want to read something.
No, I was amening that last.
I know you was signing it, but when it comes to pay attention to who you're attracted to, I want to read something. This person says, when I was younger, I didn't date healthy people because I wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
I was in survival mode, riddled with insecurities and trauma responses. I fell for men who mirrored old narratives from my past that I hadn't healed from. I sought out love that felt like home, failing to recognize my early experience of home never felt safe. That's real. That's a deep one there. That's deep right there, and that's the thing about the law of attraction, Anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I'll say mine. What do you want to add, Hannah and Tasha?
I'll say for me, the younger me, I should have probably dated more, but I got married too soon. But I was attracted to aggressiveness, which realized not like Ike Turner. Well, I married Ike, but not like Ike Turner aggressive, but like I felt like you had to be a certain height, you had to have much, you had to be this strong, and not realizing you might want it, and then when you get it, it's too much. Like it's too aggressive. Like I don't need to be cursed out for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacking in between. But I didn't realize that. So if I could go back to younger me, I would definitely. I love my kids, so I'm not going to say that, but I would have made different choices and wouldn't listen to my parents. I know that sounds bad. We're supposed to listen to our parents, but sometimes if your parents are in a certain religion, they'll just put something on you that you don't see on yourself. If that makes sense.
No, I get it.
Like
because
the
I
younger
walk
me
that road.
would realize the younger me would have liked the person who knows her own identity, who listens to herself, who listens to what she feels. So I feel like the younger me, probably if it was me back then, I am so happy social media wasn't out back then the way it is now. Because good Lord, imagine social media in our younger days. How we I wish this person was mature enough to know that it was okay to walk away in my younger years, and not when I did walk away, keep going back to abuse.
Wow. Wow. Tasha, what do you tell that younger you about paying attention to who you're attracted to?
Man, what when you read that last part, like that's, like that rung like a lot of bells and sounded, similar and very familiar as well. But yet, for the pay attention who you're attracted to, because everything that glitters ain't gold. Okay, everything, and living for yourself, knowing what you want. I spent too much time trying to live and date people that I would have never picked for myself because I wasn't
Mm,
trying to, like do it for me. I was trying to do like what my parents wanted and what they thought because this is what you did when when they were coming up.
right.
This is what you're supposed to do. Um but like as far as like any sort of like experience, I'm grateful for like, anything that I experienced because I was fortunate that I did get to date many different people and I did get to see like what I liked and what I didn't like. And the relationships that I entered into, yeah, there was still, like some issues in some of those, but I've been I've been in very, very few serious relationships, very few.
Okay.
So
Wow. Carol says at Hana, I didn't listen and I rushed into a relationship that was unhealthy. Should have listened to my dad, shaking my head.
Mm.
She also says, that was me. Oh, coach, we already read that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So for me, I did this really quickly when it comes to telling my younger self to listen, pay attention to what you're attracted to. Therein there was my whole problem. I sought too much into what I was attracted to, which at the time was the physical. I wasn't mature enough, to be honest with you, to look past the physical. And so I've had to sit back now as an older man. And not only did I ruin a lot of good young women, you know how they tell you that you only get 3 good ones in your life. I wonder if I'm single now because I blew all my great opportunities. Because even when I had somebody decent, I was always looking around the corner at what I was attracted to. I never stopped long enough to make that work or to pour enough into it for it to even grow into anything because I had that great eye syndrome. Because to Kenny's point, there was always that next big butt and a smile. And so for me, that hurt me tremendously. I feel that paying attention to what I'm attracted to, I was too caught up in the physical part of it. Because for me, long story short, I did the religious part, Hannah, and I ran so far in the other direction because I was angry with God. I felt like I had given all of this. I'm gonna be this good person. I'm gonna be a preacher. I'm gonna be a family man. I'm gonna know the Bible. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And when the marriage failed, I didn't know how. I never failed at anything. I never failed at anything to that point. So the most important decision, the second most important decision, I should say, that I ever made, my first decision was, making my relationship with God. But now the second most important thing I failed at, I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know how to process that. And looking around, I thought, well, what the hell am I? I know guys that are beating their wives and cheating on one another, and their marriage is still holding strong. So I ran as far away from looking at the inner beauty of somebody that it was all about the physical part for me. And I feel like I ruined a lot of good women and myself in the process. You know, I gotta say it in a raw way and I'm gonna move on. Your dick is a muscle. I've exercised that muscle excessively to it don't work quite right even right now. Shit. So,
It,
overuse is a motherfucker,
it's back. It's back. And you know
Huh?
what? And I'll piggyback off of that because when you was talking about religion and giving everything that you gave, and let me tell you something. When I lost my daughter, I turned to a complete monster.
I understand.
I'm telling you, I
I
turned to
understand.
a monster because I felt like God turned his back on me.
I understand.
and that was it.
I'm saying.
And I reeled after that.
Yep. Yep. Oh man. So that's why I say this, those are personal ones that really hit hard. Here's another one. I think Tasha, you'll love this one. Listen up, younger self. Being single is important.
Yes.
Yeah,
Being single is important.
yeah.
Being single is important. And I want to talk about that. How do you, well, let me say it this way, and I'll read something first. This person says, for half my life, I was a serial monogamist and mostly in long-term relationships.
Mhm.
Dating taught me about a great deal about myself, but it was only when I found myself single that I began to understand who I was and what I wanted the most. And I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop there. So listen up, younger self. Being single is important. Who want to go?
I'll go. That last part, I was married for 10 years. I did not know, I did not know myself until I was single. I was so used to knowing everything else, like what my kids wanted, he wanted. I didn't know what I wanted.
Mm.
I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I didn't want. So this real talk, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could masturbate. Like it was
Wow.
that
Wow.
I did not know about myself. That when I filed and I was officially by myself, well, still a mom, of course.
Mhm.
I found me, and it felt so good to just know me, because knowing me is the reason why I can embrace this marriage now. Had I did not know me and took that time, we probably wouldn't be together right now. Because if you do not know yourself, like every part of yourself, you so used to thinking and doing for other people, being single is amazing. I'm not saying I would like being married. I'm not talking about.
No,
Okay.
we get you're
Okay.
talking about your
Being
younger self.
was amazing. Like to come in and just gotta wash my clothes. Like just being able to just do your stuff. Come in
I'm going to talk about that in a
if
second.
I open my door, I know how my bed is made. I know only me was in it, so I know everything gonna be the way I left it. I know if my juice is here, it's mine. So certain things about just little small things you take for granted by your that you think, oh, I need this. I'm lonely. You're not lonely by you when you by yourself because you have yourself to learn yourself.
I love it. Carol says, absolutely. You get to be in touch and know yourself. And Marlon says, being single and experiencing a healthy sex life is important to really understand what you require. I love that point, Marlon. I love that point because you went really to the heart of it. Being single and experiencing a healthy sex life, it helps you understand what you actually require. Tasha, I know you got to say something on that.
That's where I was gonna go with it.
I know you.
That's
I
where
know
I
her.
was
I
going
know
with
her.
it.
I'm
I
with it.
know her.
Being able to like to Hannah's point, to know who you are, because the person that you are in a relationship is a different person than who you are when you're by yourself. Those are two different people. The longer that you're with someone, yeah, those little habits, those little things kind of start poking out, like you become more and more of who you are. But for me, I've learned so much about myself. I know, some people say that they have great self-awareness, but they really don't. They really don't know themselves. But to be able to have experience as much as I did, even though it was in such a short amount of time, I learned a lot about what I don't like, what I do want. A slew of orgasms, enough, plentiful of dick. I'm gonna say it. I had plenty of dick, plenty of it. But then also, I think it makes it better because when you do choose to be in a relationship, it's like you're making a choice, and you get to know exactly what you have, what you're bringing to the table, what you have to offer to somebody, and what you're willing to accept. And I think sometimes we see people who get in relationships who've never taken the time to be by themselves. There comes a point in your life, and I do believe in every adult person's life, where you are going to have to know you're going to be by yourself. At one point, you are going to be by yourself. And you have to come to terms with being okay with that. Because if not, you're going to find somebody or something that you're not looking for, and it's going to be the worst thing for you.
I'm glad you said that, and
Say that.
I'm coming to you, Bert. But I know people right now. I know couples right now, good friends of mine, Marlon, to your point, because they never experienced being single and exploring a healthy sex life. They only experience sex within the confines of a marriage or relationship. Because for some people, they would rather have anybody than be alone. And they define who they are by having somebody. And so, to your point, Tasha, what happens when the kids get older and now you're empty nesters, but you've never learned how to operate within the bounds of that relationship as a single person and know what you want? Because sex is always revolved around being a husband, being a wife, getting it in when the kids this, that, or the other. So, to your point, Marlon, if you've never learned how to have a healthy sex life as a single person, what point of reference do you go to? And how many children are born behind this right here? Illegitimately, because I see you know what I'm talking about, Brother Bird. No man is going to knowingly and say, I hate that my kids are born. But deep down, if they was to tell some honest truth, some of these kids wouldn't be here. But sometimes you lay it up in there and raw dog, because rather than experience that healthy sex life on your own, like you said, Tasha, and like you said, Marlon, to find out what it is you like, even if that is exploring masturbation. Okay, this is real talk. Y'all know I keep it 100 real talk. I'm experiencing that part of it as an older man right now, because I'm definitely afraid of catching something here. We live in Atlanta. Me and Marlon live in Atlanta.
Ooh.
You know, this motherfucking place, you know, is filled up with people who are walking around positive or what's the term that they use? Undetectable and this, that, and the other, you know, and the sex game is just so different now. So I never properly learned how to masturbate. I'm just keeping it real with you. So I got myself in trouble as a young person because I didn't know how to explore that. One, we was taught as organizationally that masturbation again was wrong. So God is watching you if you fucking masturbate. And so if I gotta satisfy these needs and God gonna be displeased about me anyway, might as well get my dick sucked and fuck. And go all the way. You know, if I'm gonna be in trouble anyway, let me go all the fucking way with it, you know. I'm just saying,
I knew
you know.
go there. I knew somewhere.
No, look, we keep it real, we keep it honest. And so my thing is, Marlon, I never really experienced a healthy sex life being single. Everything I did was unhealthy, you know, because I processed it differently. And if I could go back once again and tell my younger self, I threw my dick on the crap table many a night, you know, and I came up craps, you know, came up snake eyes. But
Well, keep it off the fucking table. Shit. Keep it in your pants. That's problem number one.
But how do you tell that younger person that when the previous one, the laws of attraction, was there, that mirror of myself? I was attracting just as people that was just as unhealthy as me. Now, keep in mind, this was at a time when I wasn't 56 and fat and shit. Marlon, I would have gave your ass a run from my motherfucking from 17 to about fucking 40, Marlon. I'd have gave your ass a run. I was physically fit. I played tennis. I ran track. I was, you know, and it you know, so I was, you know, I was attracting people. So to your point, Tasha, how do you tell a young person no to, you know, just it's coming at you, You know, so I wish I could go back and tell myself that everything that looks good is not good for you.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, go ahead, Tasha or Bert, if y'all want to add something to this one.
No, I was agreeing. That's actually good.
Okay.
You're right about that one.
What I would say, and if there's any men or young men watching, men, we have a problem with when we get over one relationship, we feel like we need to get past it by going to
Whoa.
we do that. And we regular and we get hurt people, and we still in a hurt phase, and here we is, we trying to get over with somebody else.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
At the end of the day, and I'll make it short and sweet. Stay single because you'll get to know yourself a little bit more. You'll know the do's and don'ts. You'll know what you can tolerate and what you can't tolerate. And there's nothing wrong with being by yourself. Don't worry about that, because that peer pressure still comes even when you're in your 20s, even when you're in your 30s, because your boys will still be riding you, no diddy.
50s. No, 50s. And Tasha and I are single. That peer pressure never stops from people telling you, well, why are you single? And I'm gonna help you find somebody. And when you find the right person, you just ain't looking at the right place. Tasha, does it stop?
No, it doesn't stop. Even when you tell somebody that you're not looking. It's not. It's not about being out of the game. It's just about just not looking. Just right now,
they don't
like
accept that. They don't accept that. Tasha, you're gonna love this statement. Marlon says, "But I tell people the whole experience allows you to really explore all of the things that you're curious about, but also may feel judged to tell your partner that you think you may want to try."
Definitely. 10 out of 10, I recommend. If you got suck that dick. That's all you gotta do. Fine. It's fine.
Like that.
It's fine. Nobody has to know except for you and that person. It's fine. Except for now, it's social media. So, but like back then, I'm so glad social media does not exist, because I would be a hoe. I would be a hoe. I'm not.
I'll say.
Kiana says, "Real talk." That's the real talk for your ass. Go ahead, Hannah.
I'll say this. People need to mind their own business. Even when you're single, they ask when you get a relationship. You get a relationship, they ask when you get married. You get married, they ask when you're having children. You have children, they ask when you're having mind your own damn business. And I hate that. Like somebody asked me the other day, you and Bert got kids outside of marriage. Y'all don't have no kid. What? First of all, no. Second of all, mind your business, because you don't even know if we can even have. You don't know nobody's business. So I hate when people always like to insert themselves in your lives. When they in their house, a lot of people that do that, their house is effed up. But they house so effed up, they want to pry in your life just to see if you doing worse than I am. And absolutely. I hate that. Like, mind your own business. If people single, be single. If you married, don't ask them when they having kids. Don't ask them when they get married. If they dating for a long time, don't ask people why you having a baby and you not married. Everybody is different. Mind your own business, live your own life, and do what you want to do.
But the beauty is that you can appreciate that now. Was that the case for your younger self?
Younger self, me back then, I was never like worried about other people. That's always been. I know. I'm not saying trying to sound like a selfish, but I always know people lives are different. Like, I can't judge why you staying with somebody, because if you don't know what I was going through at home. So because I was going through so much, I never looked and judged anybody else's situation or try to make them be different or try to insert myself in their lives.
I love it. But I'll end by saying, though, that's why it's important, though, to assess, this now, because we can tell our younger selves, but being single, it has so much value. It's important, but we just sometimes don't recognize that when we're younger. Carol said that's why they have so much time to worry about yours, because they effed up. And then Kiana says, amen, Hannah. Go ahead, Bert.
Exactly. Another thing too, and I know we're gonna probably move on from this, is that if you're gonna be out there and you're gonna be hoeing around nothing like that, just be straight up with that person. Let them know what it's about. You ain't into no relationship or not like that.
I did do that. I did
I
do
would tell my
that
daughter.
as a younger person.
A woman can't say what y'all can say.
Well,
I
You trying to
agree.
then you
I
sleep with
agree.
18 different other men. It ain't going down like that.
number one.
No, no, no.
You say men.
Number
I
one.
can,
Number one.
now, Hannah, I can speak to this. I can speak to this specifically because my thing, like we're friends, like we're cool. That's what it
Right.
is. Like we're friends, we're cool.
Thank you.
Anything else about like dealing with anybody else, anything? No, we're friends. When we're together, we're together. When we're not, we're not. We're friends.
And that's what I'm saying. Everybody just be straight with each other. It's not about you being a man or what a man not wanting to hear from a woman. The fact of the matter, if that man is straight up and he already know what it is, then he ain't, because he's not looking for a relationship. So how can you be mad about you not being a?
I love what y'all are saying, but I know we could get stuck on this one.
It's not y'all.
Y'all, Philly men, ego.
Come on.
No. So let me end it here because we're gonna go down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
But Hannah, just know I agree with you on this one. That and I'll say this: everything y'all saying is right, but the male ego is not equipped to handle. It's changing. It's changing, but I do think this, and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just agreeing with Hannah that I do agree with you on this one. That I don't think the male ego is equipped for a woman. Tasha, you got masculine energy, and I know you would tell a man that, look, motherfucker.
I have told them. That's
what because I know you. But Tasha, and I also know the guys. They're not equipped to. The same guys are not because they don't want to see that. The male ego is not equipped to deal with the fact that you mean I ain't the only one in that pussy.
You don't tell them that.
Bert said tell them.
I'm not crazy.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
The crew that I ran with.
We're not talking about your crew.
We are, because you said.
No, we're talking about people in general. That's your people.
Look, let me land.
Please land.
Let me land. At the end of the day, it depends on who you are and what your mentality is. The people that I ran with,
that's true.
We just kept it what it was. If you like Tosh and you like, hey, listen, this is what it is. We together. When we not. All right, we cool. We got that understanding, and we just kept it moving like that. That's how we were.
I know. I love it. We got to move on. We got to move on. We got to move on because we just stuff. Kiana says, "I did. I make the rules. Take it or leave it. That's my real truth." And she ain't lying. So God bless you, baby. I might not have been the only one of that pussy, but you kept it clean for me. So thank God.
We're not
so anyway, but
so
crazy.
Just joking. I said I'm just joking.
You're not joking.
Just lying. That's what.
Listen up, younger self. Listen up. Closed doors put you on the right path.
Yes, sir.
This one really caught me. Listen up to your younger self. Close, and I'm gonna read every part of this one. I'm gonna do it in 3 parts. The first one says, I've met several men who seemed like the perfect match. One of them was a profound listener who made me feel heard, and another flame had an irreverent, wicked sense of humor that lightened me up. When those connections didn't pan out, I felt a deep sense of loss, believing I'd never find someone uniquely like them again. And in a way, I was right. However, I would go on to meet other people who offered similar qualities along with something even better. They were willing to work through challenges with me. They were in the right timing of their life to sustain a connection and make something work. I've learned that I can't build a life by forcing something to happen, nor do I want to change someone's fundamental nature. I now understand that those almost relationships served as a catalyst, pushing me to see what I valued the most.
I like that.
I love that sentiment right there. So listen up, young person, because we tend to think about when a relationship doesn't work out that we want to forget about it. But this is telling your younger self, listen up, closed doors put you on the right path. Who want to add something to this?
I love that.
I'll go first on this one. Somebody said it earlier. Bert, I think you said it earlier that, and Tasha, you said at the beginning, we wouldn't be who we are without the failures. It ain't just the successes that brought us to this place. You know, Hannah, you talk about your first marriage and
I'm here.
not truly valuing being single, but it led you to be in this place now to where now you can sustain a healthy relationship. Well, I can definitely say closed doors definitely lead me to the right path because it's been said many times. I never remarried because I know exactly though what I'm looking for in a wife and even in a relationship. And I would not have got to that place if I hadn't had to close out some of those relationships that just didn't work. Because you know what you find out? You can't put a square peg in a round hole. As much as you might want to, you want that person to be, because that's where we go into sometimes when we're younger, that we think that this person is going to be it. And if they're not, so now I'm going to push that aside and get nothing out of it. And that's not necessarily true. And I wish I would have told my younger self to take advantage of that even more, understanding that I told you about the ride. Tasha, you said, not throwing my dick on the crap table. I wish I could have told my younger self that, nope, this door. I wish I'd have recognized quicker that this is not working and closed that door. I think it would have saved me a lot of heartache, a lot of pain. I wouldn't have hurt as many people, you know. I think I would have been healthy. I would have got to this healthy place a lot quicker, I believe. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Welcome, sis. Welcome to the show.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, what up, Sharon?
Anybody want to add something to this one? Telling your younger self that closed doors put you on the right path.
Yeah, that's a lot easier said than done, because when you're in that moment, you think that that's all, like that is the be all to end all, that this is the person that you need, this person that like it said, you're never going to find somebody ever like this again, but you constantly trying to, like break down the door to try to make it work or go back multiple times because you're just so dead set and just so committed to just being with this person that you can't see like what's out in front of you, that there is someone better that has the same qualities and more. Just you just gotta wait a little bit longer.
Hi, Miss Carol.
Ooh.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Sister Hannah.
I was gonna say, Tasha, you know it. And I'm gonna go by experience. I kept going back to a toxic marriage because that's all I knew. Outside of the kids, that's what and at that time, I thought it was healthy. Sometimes we think things are healthy because we don't know anything else. So if you haven't, like y'all said earlier, experience gives you more insight. Or maybe sometimes you should I realized that leaving and closing that door, stop reopening it. When you close the door, sometimes you got to stop reopening because you could be your own demise, not anyone else.
Or
Absolutely.
you're too afraid. Some people don't want to close the door because they're too afraid to admit that they failed.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh, Tasha, that's
Or that they don't want to throw in the hat and just say, to save face with family, to save face, when it comes to certain, like to religion and everything, or in the church or whatever. You don't want to admit that neither one of us want to do this. Neither one of us need to be doing this. And so I'm just going to keep going back to that same closed door, and try to force it open. This time I'm going to use my shoulder and just bully my way through. Now you done caught a case.
So true.
And I'll lastly say this. How many people are afraid to close the door to get on the right path because they're staying in that open door for all the wrong reasons? Staying because of the kids. Staying because, again, I don't want to be single. Staying because social media, how would it look if, I put so much into this relationship, and if I end, what is everybody going to think? And so not realizing you're never probably going to get to your true path unless you close that door.
Don't let your boyfriend keep you from finding your husband.
It's the truth. Carol says facts, Tasha. We're going to skip over this next one because I want to get to one even better, but I will. This next one is listen up, younger self. don't be afraid to feel your emotions. I don't think we have to explore this too deeply because I think anybody can look back, and when you're young, you don't fully know your emotions, or you certainly don't embrace them. You know, we ignore them. And so what I wrote about that one was something simple. I said, don't intellectualize your emotions. You know, as we've gotten older, I can appreciate for me that I've learned to have a much deeper reliance on trusting my inner emotions than I ever did when I was young, you know. And so I think any of us could go back and, you know, in one sense, we operated off of emotion as young people. We just did what the fuck we feel, but without fully knowing how to appreciate how to work through those emotions. And you said it a real good example, Bert, a minute ago. If you leave, if I break up with you, fuck you, bitch. I'm gonna go get me somebody better than you. And women do the same thing. You know, we rush out and make harsh decisions because what's the song Beyonce said? Upgrade you, this, that, and we make those decisions emotionally when it might have been better to close the door, be single, live inside of that, process it, and get on the right path. Tasha, I know you had a quick thought.
I did. For this, I just want to say, parents, stop. Don't tell your kids not to cry, or like your son, like don't tell your sons not to cry. Don't tell your daughters that, oh, you cry too much or you're a big baby, because sometimes those create certain of like attachment disorders and different things, which can lead to issues like in the relationships. Like avoiding attachment styles, or those anxious, you can create like anxious as individuals by telling them that they need to suppress their emotions all the time. And now, and then they, that could lead them to something way more volatile. I think about like domestic violence, like in relationships and everything, because you told it's because you told your young son to, not to fucking cry. Now he's going around and putting holes in bitches' head instead of the walls. So
You literally led to the next one, Tasha, which is telling your younger self, listen up. We should embrace heartbreak.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
yeah,
should actually
we
embrace
need to.
heartbreak. It says grief has been one of my most important teachers. Paradoxically, the emotion has taught me so much about the depths of love. The immensity of grief felt is proportional to the love experienced. So I want to ask you guys individually, what for you has grief taught you from your younger self? That if you could go back, what is embracing heartbreak? How has that been a benefit? Because for some people, that's an oxymoron. Wait a minute, you telling me that when I got my heart broken, that I should embrace that? How has that been something that you've benefited from your younger self to now? Hannah, anybody?
I'm gonna go. Okay, so I'm not saying I was so tough. I would never cry. I did not realize how you might need to get that emotion out. I was just so tough for some reason. I don't know why. That I didn't allow myself to experience emotions I should have. I do now. I'm more vulnerable thanks to Bert because I was rough, I was. And I was so, I don't know why, I guess because growing up, the stuff I went through mentally and abusively growing up as a person, I always say, you never going to see me cry. I'm not going to show no emotion. And it kind of mentally messed me up because it didn't allow me to be vulnerable. And I needed to be. I needed to soften up. I needed to cry and I needed to get that emotion out. And like Tasha, you're right. I have a son, he about to be 18 this year. I let him say his emotions. I don't tell him you can't. He don't cry. He rough like me. I don't want him to be. But I don't tell him he shouldn't
Okay.
because it's a part you need to be in touch with all your emotions. And I was so tough in one part, but I didn't allow myself to just be a vulnerable person. And now I'm happy I can be, but my younger self was not vulnerable. And I think that's why I thought I can endure so much. I didn't even realize I was being physically and mentally abused because I was so tough. And when I allow myself to be vulnerable and get touched, I realize you should not be in this situation. So you need to tap into all your emotions because you might be somewhere you're not supposed to be because you didn't get in touch with those emotions.
Okay, I love it. How for you guys then on the flip side of that, after embracing all of that, how is heartbreak?
Mm,
Going through heartbreaks for anybody, how's it benefited you from your younger self to now?
You
Or
better
has
get
it?
used
Maybe it
to it.
haven't. I'm sorry, go ahead, Tasha.
You better get used to it.
Mm,
Disappointment, anything that you can feel in that heartbreak, anger, disappointment, confusion, just hurt. Get used to it because it's a feeling that it doesn't go away. It doesn't. The best way that I heard it, like described, like as far as like grief and everything, grief is a hole that you hope to never fall into, that you hope that you never like fall into, because over time that hole just gets a little bit smaller.
wow.
So it's just
Wow.
one of those things that you get used to being disappointed because people are disappointing and we're all human. So it will allow you to, those feelings that you feel in that moment, it makes you who you are. It shows you how you react in certain situations. But if you don't feel it, if you don't lean into it, it's going to change you and it will control you.
I think this, I'm gonna read this, closes this one out. Go to the next one. This says, I wish I had known sooner that there was always beauty there in some of my most painful moments, that I could handle it. Grief was not
Mhm.
something to shake off. This is the point that I'm gonna take with me, and I wrote this down. It's not something to shake off, but a souvenir to commemorate the past relationships and meaningful experiences that had once shaped my life. I love how they put that. Because when you think about what a souvenir is, why do we get a souvenir? When you go
To remember
somewhere, you traveling, you know, I'm gonna get a souvenir because
memory.
I want to remember this.
Yeah.
I and so when they put it that way, we tend to, human nature, to try to block it out, put that back in the recesses of our mind, never bring it up again. But I like that this is basically saying, no, wait a minute. Like to your point, Tasha, grief is just as part of the human experience as love, as anything else. Disappointment
Mhm.
is natural. And I think that's a big part of relationships, is that we're erroneously teaching and passing on the point that it's going to work out. You're going to win. You're going to live happily ever after. And of course, you're going to make it. And I think sometimes people stay too long in relationships because they're trying to force it when sometimes it's meant to end. And that's okay. So, like a souvenir, let me sit this on the shelf because now I do know that I still got something from this. So, guess what? To Marlon's point earlier, if you go through that whole phase, I tried this, I did that. And now I don't have to revisit that anymore. Because again, been there, done that. So, I'm not going to bring that to my healthy relationship because I've already left that back there, but I ain't gonna forget about it. And so I think that's a great way to put it, to commemorate past relationships.
I
You
think
know,
though this is why people don't want to get into relationships anymore though, because they don't want to embrace the heartbreak. They don't want to be disappointed.
it's
They're
a part of it.
looking for perfection and thinking that that you're never gonna have problems, that you're never gonna experience any obstacles. I think this is why people don't want to embrace heartbreak.
So Tasha, you led right to the next one. And I want to come to Sherry and Bert. You guys didn't get a chance to comment on that one. So I want y'all to comment on this one. Listen up, younger self. Ooh, because I definitely want to hear your perspective on this. We have many soulmates.
Yes, we
Now, when
do.
you Tasha is embracing this, when we hear the expression, this person is my soulmate, and for some people, maybe they've never met their soulmate. But what about embracing the idea that we have many soulmates? And Sherry and Bert, I want you to comment on this. I grew up believing in the one, or the idea of finding that one person who would make me happy beyond my wildest dreams, fulfill all of my needs without me even telling them what they are. They should just know it and complete me. However, I later realized that belief was setting me up for disappointment and codependency. It's unrealistic to expect one person to fulfill all of our hopes, dreams, and expectations. And what it means. I've learned that other connections can be just as invaluable. I operated for so long in a silo and only prioritized my romantic relationships. I've learned how to nurture my community relationships better. What are you guys, Sherry and Bert, being able to say to your younger self, we have many soulmates?
Who want to go first? You want to go? You want to go, sis?
Okay, I'm listening. I'm just listening.
All right. I don't subscribe to that. I'm sorry. I'm talking. I'm just delving. I'm delving
I
with my.
love it.
I'm delving with my own path. I don't know what everybody else been through, but whatever I thought it was, it wasn't. It just wasn't. You know what I mean? I didn't feel completed. I didn't feel whole. I didn't feel like there wasn't something else out there for me. I didn't feel that way. I feel that way now, and not because Hannah's next to me. I will tell you that even if she wasn't around.
Okay.
I just never felt that way ever in any relationship that I was in, because I don't feel like I was totally completed. And I don't feel like I was ever understood, that they got me the whole nine. And the reason why I know this is because how the way I was treated, of what I went through. I embraced the pain. I embraced the rejection and everything else that came with it. And after that, I understood that, what I went through in the past, it taught me a lesson, that you need to know who you need to be with, what you're looking for, how you need to be treated, and how you need to go ahead and foster a relationship. I was too young. I got married young. So
I did too.
I didn't know. So you looking at a person that was young, damaged, and then getting into many relationships damaged. So there's no way in the world that I can say that they were my soulmates, because I didn't even know what I wanted.
So my question though is, so do you believe in the one soulmate, or you don't believe in soulmates at all?
I believe in the one soulmate.
The one, you believe in the concept of the one soulmate.
I believe in the one, because if your soulmate, that means you match up. That means there's no other. That means that's it. We measure up. Iron sharpens iron. This is it. You the one.
I'm curious.
I understand
for the rest of the panel,
different levels.
Who else on here believes in that one, the concept of the one soulmate?
Yep.
Who else believes in the concept of having that one soulmate? Hannah does.
Well,
Sherry, you believe in that?
not really, because I was always raised. Our mother always told us we're gonna go through many before we get to the right one, or whatever, and many heartbreaks and everything else. So, but I think on a mature level, when you get to certain ages, yeah, it's that one soulmate.
That one soulmate.
But
So ultimately, you believe in the one soulmate too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so they agree with you, and Hannah, I know you agree. So, Tasha, do you believe in the concept of the one soulmate?
No, I don't.
Explain why.
I don't. So, and I don't believe that your soulmate is someone that is always like romantic. It's not always a romantic attraction. Let me be clear. It's not.
Carol
I think
says
it
she
could
do.
be.
Go ahead.
It could be your friend. It could be a particular sibling. There's just some people that come into your life, whether it be for like your whole time that you're alive, or whether it be for a period. It's some people. Have you ever met somebody and you just like click with that person, or there is a familiarity with that person that you don't know what it is, but they put you at just such an ease that you're just good, that you're just
Right.
comfortable, that they bring out like certain things, like they bring out like certain things in you. And I
Right.
think that throughout your lifetime that you come across, that you may or may not, and this can go like a whole other road, because if you believe in like reincarnation and having
Okay.
met this person in a different lifetime or in a different like universe, that can bring about like all kinds of questions. And the reason why I say that is when not the guy that I dated recently, not him, but the one that I dated like when I was like 18 or 19, the first time that I met him, there was something about him that so familiar, like I knew him. I not necessarily like in this lifetime, but I just knew him.
Okay.
And I've had friends like that as well, that I just knew them. Like, and it
Okay.
wasn't just during this lifetime and this time or anything. It wasn't like I ever knew them previously, like before, like, meeting them somewhere else. Sometimes you just meet people and they just feed your soul, because those are just your people. I also feel like my dogs are my soulmates as well, but that's a whole other question. So because they're just so special to me. So
Okay. So again, we're not gonna go any deeper than a rabbit hole other than just me answering the question. I too am like you, Tasha, but I used to believe in the one soulmate.
yeah,
But
me
over
too.
time, I've evolved. Like you, Brother Bert, I got married too young and it damaged me. And as I mentioned already, I in turn damaged many other people. I think I ruined a lot of good women behind being damaged because I was on this vendetta tour for some 15 years, angry with God. Having said that, I love the point where it says that that person said out there, prioritize my romantic relationships. For a long time, I questioned, damn, am I going to find that right person? And as I've aged, I come to find out that I have a greater appreciation for soulmate on a different level, like Tasha, like friends. And like, I don't have very many real friends. So I don't
Right.
use that term loosely. You know, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't have any friends. I have associates. But the people that I count as my friends that I felt, me and Tasha have these conversations all the time. We just had this the other night. There's a handful of people that I believe that if I was in trouble, if I needed somebody, I could pick the phone up and call. So I feel like, without getting too deep in that, I feel like God puts people in your life when you need them there. Me and Sherry, we lost two physical brothers. And I swear to you, on the souls of those two brothers, I feel like God rewarded me with Bert and Kenny. And I feel a deep connection to them two as men. And I never had that. I never had that. I don't make male friends that easy. And so for a long time, my best male friend was my nephew. Well, we're more family now than friends. The love is still deep, but we're more family than friends. And I live by a simple saying, just because you're family don't mean you have to be friends. And that's no disrespect to family. I got other brothers. We're not friends, we're brothers.
Right.
I got cousins that we're cousins.
What happened?
I don't know. I thought it was my internet.
I
Me
know
too.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
He froze.
I didn't even move my lips. I'm gonna go ahead.
Maybe it'll unfreeze here in a second.
Hey Sherry, you still good?
Yeah, I can. That's why I said I thought it
Okay.
was me
All right.
because I'm on this phone.
It could be his. Aren't they getting
No,
rain?
What? Oh, there we go.
no, he not back. He frozen, baby.
No, I know we can't hear him though.
No, but he's frozen.
I'm looking up there. That's why.
Yeah, I know. You're deleted. No,
Maybe he'll go out. Black, if you can hear us, go out and come back
Go
in.
out
if
and
you
come
can.
in.
You frozen, Black?
Babe, I think his internet. He can't hear that. Yeah, he
Okay. Maybe he'll come back in.
I wasn't trying to play you, sir. But I'll say this: Bert better reciprocate, because he don't like So for him to do this show and like Lee, that's his brother. Cause Bert don't like people.
Yeah.
But he don't like people. I say it. He don't like people, but him and Lee, I'm like, yeah, that's your brother.
Yeah. I think, well, Bert, let me ask you this. Do you think that like, as far as like the soulmates, do you think that it only occurs like romantically? Or do you think that it's something that are you open to the possibility that maybe it's something more than that?
I'm not even looking at it romantically. I'm
Okay.
looking at it from many different levels. And romantic is I don't want to say like it's last, but
Last. It's like, no, I'm
yeah,
playing. I'm playing. I'm
the way
playing.
I'm thinking, there's many different levels the way my mind works and how
Mm-hmm.
I connect with people, and it's beyond just the romantic portion of it. So that's why I said what I said,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it, I thought that way when I was younger, like, oh, this
Yeah.
is my soulmate the whole nine, but then I was totally wrong, and then of course I went through that damage period. And after that, I was just like, and when you're single and when you're by yourself, then you start to understand what you want and what you need in your life. And
Mm-hmm.
you come across that person and then they accept you for who you are, wholly faults and all. Faults and all, because I'm
Right.
never gonna say I'm perfect. Never. I know I'm far from perfect. But when they can accept that, and then you're inspired, and then they kind of get, even when you're going through your bad points, they kind of get, they still get you and what's going on, and they still holding on to you right there. That's when I know you for me, because I know how I can get, and I know I can be an a-hole. I know that without a shadow of a doubt. Sometimes I
Not you,
get
Big
myself in
Red.
the mirror like, "What a-hole? There's something wrong with you. Something you."
I literally had an internet outage, you
We,
know.
Lee, now, Lee, I was giving you prop. I said you Bert brother, cause Bert don't like people.
Yeah. Again, so I do not make my internet is reconnected, all this good stuff. You're saying it's so I don't know, but we are having some weather anomalies here. But we're about to end pretty quickly anyway. But again, I was just going to basically close out by saying that for me, I've end up finding soulmates in friendships, and other relationships that have taken apart, and it's given me a satisfying life in the sense that I no longer believe in the one. You guys still allow me to have a hope that the romantic relationship is still out there. I don't recognize what's happening in the dating scene in relationships anymore, but watching y'all go through y'all journey, it does give me hope that, man, there's still some people out there that's actually looking for a real relationship, willing to put in the work, this, that, and the other. But in the meantime, this is no bullshit. I have a satisfying friendship with Tasha that I get to have a friend that I can tell anything and everything. Y'all only get half the shit that I say on here that y'all think is too much. Y'all only get that. Y'all have no idea the shit that I have to tell her and Sherry. So again, I get that balance of family and friend that I can tell anything to, and it's been very satisfying, and it has helped me to be healthier and whole. And we're going to the last two because I'll say it this way: if it wasn't for them two, I would probably be out here taking some pussy. So
I'm serious, y'all.
Told you.
Tasha's family.
He gonna
You might as
catch a
well say
case.
family.
So I would catch a case. I would catch a case. There's last
We
two,
don't
and
want.
the last two, we're not going to go into detail in the interest of time, but because again, we could have went down a rabbit hole. A couple of them. This is one of them that we should hopefully be able to look at anyway and say to our younger self, listen up, don't be afraid. No, well, we already covered that. I'm sorry. Oh, this was a good one, but we didn't get a chance to go here. Listen up. Sometimes it's okay to be the villain. And I'll just read this and let you guys process this. And I hope that you have conversations for those who are still watching. This says, when you're talking to your younger self, I used to prioritize being a good person in love, often at the expense of my truth. I loved my past partners and wanted to make them happy and comfortable, neglecting my needs, values, and goals. In the process, I found myself repeating my worst habits and feeling trapped in relationships where the dynamic looped in the same unhealthy patterns. I got severely depressed and sick. I started losing my hair, my voice, my power. Embracing the role of the villain in someone else's story can be empowering if it means staying true to yourself.
We just had that conversation. You and I just had this conversation.
Thank you, man. So that's where I hope this conversation continues long after the show. And I want to repeat that last part. We all want to be liked, and it's nice to be liked and to do good for people. But if it's at the expense of your own happiness, because that last part, it says, and I want you to get this part, people listening, embracing the role of the villain, that don't mean you're a bad person. In someone else's story, this is the part that we forget. My lights are flickering on and off. Embracing the role of the villain in someone else's story can be empowering. And it talks about how if you're always a good person, and then you hear through the grapevine, through social media, they talk about you in a bad way. Oh, she wasn't shit. You know, that bitch wasn't a good woman, or man, he didn't do this and that. And you want to step up and scream, bitch, I should have left your ass a long time ago, but I stayed with you and put up with your shit because I didn't want to be the bad guy. So I love the fact that it's making that it's okay to be the villain. It is really okay to be the villain sometime in somebody else's story. And you know, I had to learn that last part. I left Memphis, Tennessee as the villain. Tasha can vouch for this. The day I left Memphis, Tennessee, Sherry and one of my exes talked to me the entire drive, and I told them I don't want to be here another moment because those relationships had run its course. And Sherry's, brother, please just spend the night and leave. And I said, no, I don't want to be here another fucking minute. And I left knowing that there were going to be people that's going to say, Black took advantage of me. He did this and he did that. You have to learn to say, fuck those people. If I'm going to be the villain in your story, I'm okay with that. Number one, long as they don't get back to me, because I will cuss your monkey ass out. But the other part of it is that you can choose to remember it however you want to, because in the immortal words of Tupac Shakur, you can tell them people you roll with whatever you want. You and I know what's going on. So you're not going to fuck up my happiness. But if you want to get around your friends and drink and laugh and say I did this and that, great. Fuck you too. Coco, fuck you.
Okay.
Now, how you gonna say that and then the camera freeze? See?
Wow.
He said F you too, and this said
and then drop the mic. Are you serious? Wow. That's what we're doing.
I think they're getting the storm that came through Louisiana this morning. I think that's what's going through Georgia and everything.
It's flooding over here, right?
This is the fast from social media today, and I guess I missed everything.
Yeah, it
hit really quick this morning too.
What?
So y'all used to storms like that, huh?
It's
well, this was not just flooding, but it was a tornado in Slidell, Louisiana.
What?
The mayor said this is the worst damage that they have seen since Katrina.
Oh, I was going to say.
Yeah, they got, and it's high. Like the water, the kids was at school. The buses decided they weren't taking nobody's kids home, that they took you as far as they could. And you see like little bitty kids like just going through the water, trying to get home.
My kids up. Be damned.
It's
crazy.
It's terrible. If you go back and you look at the picture,
people don't take it as serious. Like up here when they had that earthquake. And then I told Freddie.
They didn't know.
Yeah, I told Freddie, I was telling him last night. And y'all look this up too. I was telling them they making fun of it. And it was a 4.8 earthquake.
Yeah.
And then we had the eclipse on 4.8. Look up Exodus 4.8 and y'all gonna tell me next time we come on the show. It tells you it's the first sign.
Yeah, it's crazy.
A 4.8 up there is crazy because New York and Philly, Jersey is not known for this.
Yeah, that was it.
Nope.
Like them too, right? Then it went all the way up to Boston, I think, to
I was
Massachusetts.
scared. I was sitting in
Yeah,
here
East Coast.
and this whole building was shaking.
Really?
I went running, I'm trying to see if about how to get my mother out, and she's sitting there and shit asking to the home attendant you heard, listen, we getting out of here. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's no joke. That's not heard of up there. We had one before, like maybe 10 years ago. It wasn't. It was light. That's crazy.
Yeah, 4.8. You starting to get to that California type of territory now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well,
People
we're
said
right
the ground was shaking outside.
we're
Did
right
you
here
get
on
anything,
the fault
guys?
line. Like Memphis lies on a fault line. So
Did y'all get a lot of trimmers or anything?
us?
Yeah.
If we do, it's usually not Memphis. The last time we got one was like I mean years ago. Years ago. Like it was real subtle. But most of it hits Arkansas. I think that they get picked up on it a little bit more.
Oh,
And
I was
because we're
just
just
about
like
to
right
ask
across
you.
the bridge.
You never
Yeah.
like experienced like a real tornado, like you've seen it?
Oh, like a tornado? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we get that
You
happens a
get
lot. But
tornadoes
yeah, we get tornadoes. Yeah.
I don't be thinking
I've
about
just been fortunate enough. Yeah, I'm fortunate enough. Just like the apartments and places that I've lived, like our side of town didn't really get it. But yeah, we do get some bad weather like that. Absolutely.
oh, that's
Yeah, because
crazy.
my sister in Arkansas, yep, they get them all the time. She took pictures, like you be close, like I'll be like, well, what the hell you doing trying to take a picture? But they get it bad.
It's all right as long as it doesn't look like it's standing still. You're fine. If you see it moving like a different direction, you're fine. But if it's standing still, that means it's coming right at you, and you
Oh,
need to move. You
I
need to hide.
And Tasha, you remember when we went to New Orleans? Remember me and Cherish and us, we drove over there? I was like, we better
Mhm.
get the fuck up out of here. Them people was looking at us like we was crazy.
you think we out?
Mm-mm.
I guess his power must have gone all the way. I don't know if he's going to
went
come back on
out.
or not.
Well, this
Probably
is
not. He
house.
put his power probably out. He gonna
Yeah.
be a mad motherfucker. He can't watch no TV tonight.
You already know he's gonna. Oh, and probably eating dinner too. So that's
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
waiting with his dinner. So we
And his
gonna
lights was flickering, so his power might have went out.
Josh,
see.
you got to end the show for us.
Huh?
You got to end the show for us.
I gotta end the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I can end the show. Like it's gonna stay on live.
Oh,
I
well, we
don't think
gonna get off.
Okay, yeah, we can. Yeah, I guess that we're gonna. I was trying to wait to see if he was gonna come back on,
You think he
maybe
might?
from like his phone or something, because I don't want him to
Bert
just like.
reaching out.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to
Well,
Okay.
him.
you gotta say all the stuff, Tasha. Well, this is a
No,
TFG ratchet and all this kind.
Bro,
no, I ain't gonna say that. This has been, a fabulous show. We're gonna go ahead and end it since our host, I'm only the co-host, since our host is no longer here. Make sure you guys check us out on YouTube. We're on the TFG Ratchet channels and on Facebook as well. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the Real Talk for Real Men, and go and look at all the shows on their platform. They got so many, I can't even rattle them off. I wish Kenny was here because Kenny can tell you all of them. But there's something for everybody. We're going to get through the rest of our Wednesdays. We're going to make it through the weekend. I don't know if we're going to have a show on the weekend. I think Black has something, an event. I don't know if he's actually going to be here for the Saturday show. If we are, then we are. But then also, you can always check out his social medias. He's on TikTok. And, just see the ratchetness and the foolishness that he's going to post about, because that's just what he does. Okay. So if we do have a show, we will be here on Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, on Wednesdays, we're here 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What's he saying, Hannah?
All right.
damn.
Black said that we won't be having a show on Saturday because of the fact that he has a prior engagement that he's going to, but he's going to have a live tomorrow.
Nice. See,
Yeah.
look at that. Look at God. I didn't know. I wasn't going to be on.
All right, y'all.
Well, guys, it's been a good show. I've enjoyed it. I hate that it has to end like this, but he'll probably come on and he might post something a little later. But you guys, Have a good night. Have a good evening. Love you
Yes.
guys. See you all.
All right, family. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.